What is also something we are going to be understanding deeper in this video. So it's going to be interesting, of course, for those who don't have an idea of how these things work. So with respect to what he's saying now, it really does make a lot of sense understanding the personality of Eezeetee, which I would say that I actually had to sit down and watch the progression of how he has been really dealing with, at least publicly, like I would know, the publishing rights, okay, the composition right, the royalties that comes from that. Like I say, it's not something huge, but if you have a very big hit that is everywhere and all that, the money could also be significant. So concept has with any of his artists like Messi Chinwo, Judy K, GUC, even Labisi, he adds his name there as part of the songwriters. Now what ASCAP, for example, because he's a member of ASCAP, what ASCAP recognizes are writers and publishers. But depending on when a music is being made, in the composition of the song, remember we are looking at performance rights organizations right here, the composition part of the song. Let me try to explain this, of course, clearly. I shouldn't be talking about this now, but again, before we go on with it, depending on when a music is being made, in the composition of the song, remember we are looking at performance rights organizations right here, the composition part of the song. Let me try to explain this, of course, clearly. I shouldn't be talking about this now, but see, that's why I'm using it as an example. So just imagine what I'm saying. Good. So when you are now, the pot of soup egusi becomes the masters, or would I say the product of these ingredients that were nothing except they are being put together. So the masters, which is the pot of egusi that comes out of the cooking, belongs always to the record label. That is their product. That's when we talk about the masters, the recording. That's the one that is being put on DistroKid and some other platforms, or maybe if you are using Sony, any distribution company that you work with, they make sure the music is on Spotify, SoundCloud, Apple Music, everywhere, and they track that as well, getting you the revenues that come from that particular distribution. I don't know if it makes sense, but when it comes to the composition, if you are registering for the composition, or would I say the performance rights organization, the PROs that are being called, what you register there is the name of the soup, which is going to be the name of your song, the ingredients, which are going to be who the songwriter is, who the producer is, all of that. But what the BMI or the API recognizes, listen, are writers and publishers. So when you are doing that registration, because I understood where Messi Chinwo really had a misunderstanding there, because even though his name is listed as writer of the song, indeed, and she has her unique IPI number, which I'm going to take time to explain as well, him being listed as a writer is just like saying him being listed as a producer of the song, even though he's not the writer. Like you just heard the young man, of course, express that he himself, like you heard the young man, of course, express that he was the one that produced the song, staying all night with her. He never mentioned the person of Eezeetee, but Eezeetee is the one that runs the place. He is the one that owns the place. So what Eezeetee in his mind as at this time was hire people who are going to work for him, probably pay them salaries, of course, that's what they understand. And because they are not privy and don't know about this back end kind of stuff, when he's now registering the song for publishing, he puts his name as the producer, because there's no place for you to write producer, there's no place for you to write guitarist or whatever. So but Eezeetee's, I would say his greed is that he's registered, his company is there as the publishing company, and then his name is also part of the name of those who have written the song. If it is not greed, Eezeetee, why would you put your name as part of the writers of the song, even though technically it should be like producers or something, but you put your name there instead of putting the name of the producer that actually worked on the song with the lady, contributing, of course, to getting the rights from that. So because when it comes to the distribution of the rights for the music, look at the picture you see in front of you. Good. So what happens is that when the publishing royalties get to come in from the song, however is being tracked behind the scenes, the system, of course, ASCAP, which he is part of, gets to pay the writer and the publisher. Normally it is 50-50, but if you are registering your song on ASCAP, you can register as both the writer and the publisher, whereby you get 100% of all of the earnings. Okay, so in this case right now, when he puts his name as a writer, also with the original singer, Mercy Chinwo. I'm going to expose something I found quite interesting, especially with that particular song, Excess Love, which blew. When he put his name as a writer, as well as Mercy Chinwo, together with him being the publisher. So he's going to be earning as a publisher 50% of the revenue that comes, and also he's going to also share from the 50% that's supposed to go exclusively to the writer or writers. If it's just one person that wrote the song and the person's name is there, only that person is supposed to get the other 50% of the revenue that comes. But he also gets to share from that particular revenue that also goes to the person that wrote the song, or would I say the artist. That particular revenue is supposed to be the artist and maybe the producer or others who contributed to that particular song. Does it make sense? So he was earning from both sides, as a company being the publisher 50%, and also as the music writer, in this case as a producer. So with respect to what he is saying, his name was not there. I saw it myself. Does it make sense? Here is fact over sentiment, but I'm going to show you right now. I don't want to be visual, but I want you to just be able to imagine what I'm saying, so that when I'm showing you as well, it's going to make sense. Okay? But even if they wrote through Eezeetee Concept, okay, and so far as his name was not included in the publishing app initial, okay, it will be left for his own volition to actually say, okay, my name is there as a producer or as a writer, however he was thinking when he put his name as writer. I explain this right now, okay? For him to say, okay, as a good person, I'm going to take whatever I have earned as my name is there in that song or in those songs as the producer or co-writer. I'm going to take those monies and then give to you. But clearly as well, from what he gets to say right here, it was intentional that Eezeetee wanted him to be out of the pie that comes with what he has worked for. Had it been he had paid him a salary or something during that time, soft landing, but for him to pay him up with 140,000 at that time, he might be justified in his conscience that, okay, I have paid him for this quote-unquote gig. But where is that Christ likeness in you? Shebi, it is you that was quoting Bible. You post Joshua sermon the time that Mercy Chinwo left and was talking about those who are rebellious or whatever. Eezeetee, Ezekiel, search your heart. I saw what you were doing with the whole church industry, and then you called out people that their name is your name is not in publishing. It's not. They are going to go into looking at that, and those people as well, those of you who are working with him, you also have to check yourself, track yourself, so that you know. Some of them I know that they are also part of BMI, some of them are in ASCAP, some of you are no entity.